Hello and welcome to this little video of Easter eggs and things you may have missed in the short story Family Reunion, which is one of the 8 short stories of horror and modern fantasy from my 2023 anthology, Out of the Depths. Now, before I carry on, if you could quickly, hit that little like button, that'd be fantastic. And why not subscribe? Our videos come out all the time on this sort of bits and bobs. You might enjoy them. And before I carry on, I just want to say a huge thank you to the people who made this video possible, those from my Kickstarter and those from my Patreon book club.
So a huge thank you to Kevin Denwood, Jacob Matz, Paul Lewis, Gemma Innes, Beck Pierce and Anthony. You guys are absolutely amazing.
If you'd like to hear your name shouted out across the internet on random occasions, normally in videos like this, not just, completely random stuff, that'd just be a bit weird, then why not consider joining my Patreon book club? Membership starts from just £1 a month, and you help produce these videos, and you help me with my publication costs for my books. There's a link down below. Sam Spallucci, Fury of the Fallen. So straight away, it is worth noting this short story acts as an epilogue to Sam's 7th adventure. Sam spent most of his time in that book basically babysitting the potency, it's a little sociopathic rot from the beginning of time. And one of the consequences of that was that it was taken away from him by the children of Cain. And this is what happens. Number 2, a Gothic church in a market town in the East Midlands. So, once again, we find ourselves at All Saints Church. Over and over again, the paths for Sam seem to lead us back to this church where he was a chorister as a teenager. So, why is that then? Well, buddy, just think about it. Not only do we know that there is going to be some sort of battle here. Remember, it was referenced in Songbird, Nightingale's origin story. And we know that this is where Canor is going to have his base of operations post-Divergence. And this has indeed been mentioned a number of times. Probably the most vivid version being in the short story The Virtuous Man. Oh yes, I remember that one. Things didn't exactly go according to plan for Jason, did they? No, indeed they didn't. But the question has been, why would Canor choose All Saints? Well, this story gives us a distinct hint to why. It's the place where the Abyss has this sort of portal with the physical realm. Oh, and she can send things back and forth through time, can't she? Nailed it, buddy. Absolutely. Now think how useful that would be if you've got an army of clay golems that you want to send back in the past. Number 3, things aren't going as planned. We see Dave Nichols wondering what this expression would be in Latin and thinking, it ought to be his own personal motto. This is actually a parallel to Sam. He has the Latin phrase nil illegitimae carborundum, albeit it's not a proper Latin phrase, engraved on the back of his lighter. Don't let the bastards grind you down. It's the same sort of feeling, what have I done to deserve this? It shows us how Dave and Sam are very, very similar. 2 normal guys thrown into paranormal worlds, each having to cope in their own way. And when we get into the next Sam Spallucci book, Lux Eterna, we start to see how the way they cope starts to differ. Number 4, 4 hours of constant questioning. Now, I love the potency. Oh, she's just the cutest little sociopathic rock from the beginning of time. But I don't think I would want to spend 4 hours in a car with her. Yeah. Number 5. What was Troy like? Now, one of the questions which the potency asks the vampires while they're travelling down to All Saints is, what was Troy like? And this is a direct reference to Scorpion being the prophetess Cassandra from, the Homeric myth. And yeah, it's just one of those little things I keep like dropping in because I love Trojan legends. I love the War of Troy. It just fascinates me. Well, don't you think it'd be nice to have a little origin story for Scorpion at some point? Well, Shrody, it is ticking away up here at the moment. So, hopefully in the next couple of years or so, I might get something down on paper. I'd enjoy it. Hope you would too. Number 6, the smelly fence. Tigress recalls a fencer of goods that she and Scorp knew back in medieval Burgundy. She comments that he stank. And as a result, they originally thought he was a construct. This is in line with the fact that constructs do actually reek from the clay from which they were fashioned, which is one of the ways that vampires know them and can hunt them down. Number 7, I could just kick it in. Tigress here is her usual fractious self and just wants to kick the door in and get done and go. She's had enough. She wants to move on and do whatever next. However, they are under strict instructions to cause as little damage as possible. Now, the main reason for this is that I've already written the scene set the morning after in Fallen Angel. This is another crossover story. The events of this story will be sort of referenced in Fallen Angel. And we just have a little scene which shows that somebody broke into the church without causing any damage. And if I was to go back and rewrite that scene, it would be an absolute pain in the bum. Number 8, fighting the construct. Okay, so this little scene shows just how in harmony Scorpion and Tigress are, because they've fought for hundreds of years together, whereas Dave really is still somewhat of a noob. They instinctively know how to take the golem down, yet he blunders into their paths. It also shows that in reality, the main textbook for how to beat a baddie comes from superhero movies for Dave. A callback to when he was the owner of a comic book store. Number 9, Nathan. Scorp and Tigress have a moment to reminisce about the craftsman, Nathan, who fashioned the statues for All Saints. He was a kind soul who took them in the Middle Ages after Tigress had been wounded by a construct. And this story is actually told in full in the short story, Memento. Number 10, Tigress hunts for the Madonna and child. So even though they've come here to hide the potency, Tigress immediately sets off on her own personal mission. Back in Sam Spillucci Dark Justice, Sam's 4th adventure, she retells the story of Nathan, the woodcarver, and that he carved a Madonna and child for her and Scorpion as a little memento, a little thank you. The wooden statuette was then subsequently stolen by the construct that killed him, and it was taken to All Saints. Now, both Nightingale and Sam verify that it still exists. In fact, it was used as a means of testing Nightingale's trustworthiness in Songbird. So, why didn't Tigress go back and get it then? Well, it's because Nightingale wouldn't let her. And they actually physically fought over the matter. There's a big scrap in the churchyard in Lancaster. Now, however, Tigress finds herself in the right place at the right time, and there's no way she's going to stop anybody from letting her get what is rightfully hers. Number 11, the statue of the Madonna and Child. Now, this sort of carries on again from the last one, but the statue is actually based on a real life statue, which I remember from my childhood. I grew up in Wellingborough, which is what Wellington is based on, and I was a chorister at All Hallows Church, which is identical to All Saints Church in this. And when I was a chorister there, I remember them having this very small, very pretty statuette of a Madonna and Child. I remember it sitting on the ledge in the organ chapel, and I saw it every Sunday when I walked into church. Number 12, knaves are not our responsibility. So, the engraving on the font spells out Canor as an acrostic. In Songbird, we learn that it was engraved there at the request of Lucifer, and this story is then expanded upon in Child of Light, the novella, which is going to accompany Lux Eterna. It was actually used as a way of poking fun at the vicar who was treating Nightingale in a terribly cruel manner, and was a misquotation of the bishop's representative who refused to pay for the repairs to the nave of the church. Nave, obviously, with an N, not with a K. You know, nave with a K is a serf or a servant. Now, as for why Lucifer would want to have the acrostic spell out the name of humanity's devastator, well, only time will tell on that one.